Well, let's get some expert analysis of that performance. Mark, I'm reminded of the old Spider-Man line, with great power comes great responsibility. It's hard to imagine Sammy Wilson with responsibility of ministerial office.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was coping very well there, but it's just incongruous. I mean, he's kind of unionism's answer to Boris Johnson, and we've been so used to seeing him, you know, making wise cracks and coming up with sparky questions, but instead now he's got ministerial office. So it's a little bit like when Boris Johnson became Mayor of London. You had to scratch your head and think, yes, this man is now in this position of power. So yeah, it's a whole new experience, but he coped. He shrugged off a hint from Sinn Féin's Paul Butler that he'd become a tree hugger, but we are promised, I think, a sparky time with Sammy Wilson there.
Well, indeed, and even just watching it earlier on today, you noticed almost how he sort of warmed to it as he went through, from being a bit stiff and holding on to the notes to actually relaxing and giving a bit more of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he has to do, really. He has to sort of hold on to the sort of rhetorical flourishes that he normally treats us to, but at the same time know that his words are going to be closely scrutinised and quoted back at him. So he has to keep, to some extent, to those paragraphs prepared by the civil servants at the same time.
Well, exactly. A lot more scrutiny once he's in office. One of the things he's come under the attention of, I suppose, the Green Movement as perhaps their bête noire. To be in charge of the environment has perhaps not been their most favoured person. But, you know, does an environment minister have to necessarily be green, or are they just there simply to run a minister's office like anyone else?
Well, I mean, obviously there's going to be examination of how his worldview, he's known as a climate change skeptic, how this influences his actual decision making. How does he come down in terms of the balance between business and development and environmental protection on the one hand. So this is going to be scrutinised, but I mean, there are aspects in which everyone would agree. He was condemning a major fish kill. Everyone from all sides of the chamber was condemning that, so we'll just have to see how he copes, but I think they will be on his case. But he simply hits back. He always believes that attack is the best means of defence, and he's already called them sort of sandal-wearing, muesli-eating types that he's going to shrug off, and had a little bit of a go, I think, at David Ford, a self-confessed Guardian reader, during Question Time today.
Dear, David Ford, the leader of the Alliance Party. Well, funny enough, we're joined now by the deputy leader, who is Naomi Long, very welcome, wearing a nice green cardigan this evening. Is that an indication of your leanings in this issue?
No, although I have to say that the notion of the environment being safe in Sammy Wilson's hands is really something that will take a lot of getting used to. I mean, I wear sandals, I don't eat muesli, but I do read The Guardian, and his initial kind of attack on those of us who actually care deeply about the environment just doesn't bode well, I don't think, for his approach to trying to build consensus around serious issues.
Of course, your own motion petition on the EPA issue, the Environmental Protection Agency, was simply dismissed. Wasn't even, we think, properly considered by the executive.
Which is one of our major concerns, because if ever there was an argument for decoupling environmental protection and the Department of Environment, the current minister is that argument. And I think what you need to have is somebody there who is completely independent of a government department, who will actually scrutinise, because you're right in the sense that every minister will, if you like, have different degrees and priorities in terms of the environment. What you need is something independent which actually scrutinises what they do and holds them to account. And the Assembly can do that to some degree, but I think that kind of experienced panel with the skills and the knowledge to be able to actually do that effectively would be better found in an EPA than it would within the department or indeed in the Assembly.